This is my not diary. I just started writing this on August 2nd. And just whatever came to mind is what I wrote. No matter how hard I try, what I keep forgetting is that you can't make anyone love you the way you feel you deserve. No matter how good of a person that I've tried to be, it's never been enough to inspire a love so strong that nothing could shake it. I have craved a love of romantic and epic proportions. I have cried over the feelings of missing out on having something rare and beautiful. Instead, I've endured a life of pain, heartbreak, failure, tragedy, and sadness. I've had many joys. Becoming a mother was, is, and will always be my greatest honor. I have tried to be the best mom that I knew how for as long as I was allowed. I'm not going to say that I had never fell into depression and neglected certain responsibilities. I did. I have always hated dishes. The smells in my back always ends up hurting so bad. So in times of my inner struggles, I let those things slide in order to keep my sanity. I still always made sure my boys were clean, fed, and doing well in school, manners, and integrity. I made sure to pray with them over our meals. I tried to teach them responsibility and maturity in all situations. I made sure that they understood and saw me practice charity and forgiveness. I made them help out to teach them to be humble and to have a heart of service, to have different perspectives and empathy for others, to do the things that made them happy, but to foster and fertilize the talents that were truly good and brought meaning to their lives and their world around them. To stop and smell the flowers and then pick a few to take back to mom or dad or grandma. That it's always worth it to wrap that gift and be extra, to go over to that friend's house who needs cheering up, to do the hard things like babysit a friend's kids just so that you could bathe and diaper cream them, give a nice home-cooked meal and a fun crafty time, all four of them. Only to have my heart ripped from me. Attempting to continue on only to be attacked by all those I once loved with all my heart. Husbands, best friends, parents, siblings, friends, co-workers. It didn't matter. It's like people are allergic to genuine, truthful people with good intentions. I have heard many people throughout my life speak fondly of past relatives and heroes in teachers, coaches, and pastors. I've heard the description of he or she had a heart of gold, wouldn't hurt a fly, or, my personal favorite, didn't have a bad bone in his body. So, far be it from me to attempt to live in such a way that at my funeral someday, perhaps those phrases would be spoken about me. I wanted to live my life in a way that's honest and real, even if it meant being embarrassed or ashamed, being mocked or criticized. I didn't care as long as I was being genuine, and among the hard pursuit to be real, to also do it in love and kindness, to not cause harm to anyone in any way. I wanted to be an example of maturity and forgiveness. We live in an awfully cruel world. I have desperately wanted to show people that we can be patient and forgiving of others, as Jesus has commanded us. I've attempted to follow Jesus for 31 years now. I've endured the most oppression and mockery from my family. Some of them who still go to church and claim to worship the very same God of love and forgiveness and humility as I do. I don't doubt their level of belief system. I do doubt their level of commitment to this faith, however, because I believe I understand the very difficult path and how hard it is to operate in the ways that God has instructed us to do so. No one can tell me that a fully devoted Christian following the "what would Jesus do" model of lifestyle would stand by and allow another family member to be ousted, shoved away like they never existed, and in turn causing little ones to have to grow up without a full family support system, missing years and years of members, full of family members singing happy birthday. Stolen from my children are stories of silly aunts and generous grandparents, of surprises and sleepovers with cousins. Joseph doesn't even know what a cousin is. By 4, I knew who my cousins were, and by 10, I had a full mental file cabinet worth of memories with those cousins, aunts and uncles, and parents, and my most cherished memories personally, grandparents. Perhaps they are my children in some alternative perspective universe, being alternately saved from the crushing feelings that I've had to endure. The feelings of warmth when my mind takes a trip down memory lane, followed immediately by the crushing sting of reality. That these same people don't even treat me like a human anymore. Most simply put, over ignorance. Ignorance about a disease that causes scarring, not unlike drug addicts. A disease that, up until 2018, went unrecognized by the CDC, and even now has been mocked by uneducated doctors and clinicians, dismissing patients who are truly suffering as delusional. And that is what I've been cursed with. An entire family of dismissive, ignorant mockers. I'm sorry, allow me to insert a correction for clarity and transparency. Christian, dismissive, ignorant mockers who can't even apparently take 5 minutes to Google something that would instantly disprove their mockery. No, I'm not worth that effort because that would hurt their ego. They would have to backtrack all the years of lies that they've been spouting, and oh, the blasphemy asking prayer for at church. I do wonder how much sympathetic attention they've managed to bank themselves. Sympathetic. Now this makes more sense. Go get yourself some more sympathetic points to make you feel grand about your life. But allow me to digress. Even these people who are part of my family tree, I choose to forgive. Sometimes I have to go and forgive them again because it didn't stick the first time, or even because of new sins committed against me. I'm learning that you can stay in your own lane, mind your own business, don't gossip or listen to any, especially about family. And it doesn't matter. There's some sick jollies that they must get when they're feeling high and mighty, speaking so poorly about someone who hasn't done anything to them but love them and be encouraging and supportive. I'll never understand how people can operate in that manner. I've attempted to draw closer to God, and in doing so, I've noticed an increase in my ability and in the intensity of the way that I feel guilt or my conscience. It takes a lot of effort to stop and think about the right choices, but after a while, it's really, really not as hard, because not only does it become a habit to take the path less traveled, but using empathy and critical thinking, you can determine risk versus reward in making the good and right decision. I have never tried to claim to be perfect. Quite the opposite is actually true. In my quest for humility, I often downplay some of my strengths and focus on correcting my weaknesses. I'm not always successful in my journey, and that's okay, because in the arena of life, as long as you're trying and not giving up or becoming complacent, you're just fine. My low self-esteem from an early age has often left me unable to see my worth at all. Traumatic events, deaths, and confusing parental relationships helped start the self-esteem issues, I do believe. Add in some more heartbreak, an unconventional and emotionally and psychologically abusive relationship with my mother, deepened feelings, doubting my self-worth, doubting that I really had anything to offer the world. That's it. That's all 13 pages. I mean, it's not a big book. This is my guest book for our wedding. Tried to take the letters off and read, because, like, nobody signed it. So, I just started writing, and I felt like I had some important things to say, and I guess I've been waiting many, many years to clear the air about myself, about all the lies that have been told about me. I'm sure probably some of them are true. I'm sure there are some ill truths about me out there. But you'd be hard pressed to find any that I haven't fessed up to, or would admit to, or have asked God for forgiveness for. I know sometimes Christians can come off as self-righteous and holier than thou and high and mighty and hoity-toity and all those things. It's a perception, though. Because I've perceived other Christians that way, like, oh yeah, isn't your life just so perfect and good and you don't do anything wrong? And that's my own guilt, you know that? Like, because if I 100% was, like, all the time trying to make good choices, the best choice, God's way, then I would look at these other Christians and I would feel nothing but happy for them. There would be no jealousy, no bruising of the ego. Where's your ego if you make good choices and you do it out of a place of humility and love and just trying to follow God? You don't have much pride left. You can't have pride as a Christian. You can, like, take pride in a job well done, and you can take pride in your appearance, and not want to look like a bum or nothing, but to have pride and overinflated self-esteem seems to be an epidemic of massive proportions lately. Why is the ego such an issue nowadays? Like, more than I've ever noticed it before. Well, I believe we're in the end times, of course. And I believe that has something to do with it, because I've noticed everything is speeding up and increasing. Good and bad. People waking up to God and seeking Him. People pulling away from God. And that's a hard one to watch.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, I'm going to end this because I feel like it's super long enough. But just want to say thank you for listening to my thoughts. And keep me in your prayers. If you need prayer and you want me to include you in mine, I'll put you in my S book. I love everybody. Y'all be blessed.